So hello there, my name's Lauren Lockery of Herbal Homestead. We've come out to the woods today on this lovely spring morning, and I want to, overlap the outdoors and the indoors. I want to incorporate some foraged plants with some things that you might have lying around your house, in the kitchen potentially, or in the bathroom. So ultimately today we're going to make some bath salts with both ingredients from the wild and from your kitchen. So yeah, let's chat through that. We'll make some bath salts that you can use to relax for yourself. You can make them for a gift, and these particular ones will be really nice to sort of relax you, make you feel calm, de-stress you somewhat, and also if they soak in and you take a moment for yourself to slow down and just relax in the bath with them, or even a foot spa, you should feel that the tension in your muscles will be eased somewhat, and even if you've got sore aching muscles, if you've been overdoing it, then this should help. So yeah, we could get started. Maybe I can introduce you to a few of those items that we said we were going to work with. So first of all, here we have Epsom salts, just really basic salts that you can buy. Epsom salts, you could even put some bicarbonate of soda through as well. So these are things I had around the house. So today we'll use Epsom salts and the dried herbs. So I've already gone and foraged some pine needles, from different conifers. So we've got some fir, some spruce here, and you can even use Scots pine, but actually I only have there's a Scots paired pine. You see that? The needles are paired there with the pine. Whoa, it's blown away. But we have a mixture of dried conifer needles. I just foraged them about a month ago, and they've been sitting in a net, a sort of an open aerated net that I keep some of my plants in. So that's the foraged element, so the pine needles. And just be careful that you've got your ID correct. So you want to go for those paired needles, make sure it's pine, or if it's a spiky spruce tree, they've also got two little white lines underneath the needles. Certainly don't go near a yew tree, it's poisonous, but so be careful with your tree ID. But once you get your eye in, you should be fine with that.
What's the distinguishing mark of a yew tree?
For me, it's very much the bark already has this sort of a gnarliness about it, and depending on the species, it's single short needles that come away from the branch, and a sort of I guess they're quite flattened looking. They're flattened, and they don't they're not in pairs like the paired pine, or the spiky spruces and whorls as well, whereas the yew is quite flattened and very short, and they have those little red berries as well. So all of those, if you consume those, they're toxic. So keep an eye. However, I will give you some supporting documents in this recipe so that we can get all these things clarified as well. Hello Otto. So yeah, what about the wee guys wanting to play, of course, as we film. Right, mister. The other ingredient that I had in the house was this pink Himalayan salt. So these are quite coarse ones. You can get finer grade, but those are two of the salts that I'm going to use today, the Epsom salts and the pink Himalayan salt. So I've also brought along, my friend harvested lots of lavender, and so this is my friend's lavender that she's given me, so I'm very lucky. So these are the buds, and they're beautifully, if you could smell it, I'm sure you know what lavender's like. It's very, very lovely and calming. So those are the raw ingredients. Now you don't have to, but I have also brought along some essential oils, and I've just chosen lavender and cedar, which is a type of conifer that is of course trees that produce cones. So those evergreen, these needles, that's what we're using today. So yeah, let's get started. So of course we've talked about the raw ingredients, make sure you've got those. I've also brought some scales, and I'll just turn those on. We want grams, so set it to grams, that's the wee G there. And then in fact what I should have done was put your bowl on and then tear it, it's called. So if put the bowl on first rather, and then press the button, we should get it back to 0. So that's including the weight of the bowl. So it's tear, isn't it? So make sure you've done that the right way, not the way I did. Great, so let's do the 100 grams of salts. So again, whoops, spilling it already. What I'll do is I just decant. Now that's already gone to 1 gram for some reason. Let's see, 0 grams. So you can use that, or you can also use your little funnel if you want. There's already some nature gone in, that's great. So keeping an eye, 37, 38, 46, thereabouts. So we're already on 60, so what I'll do is I'll remove some of that. 55, 50, 51. Oh my goodness, are you seeing that? It's wobbling around. So that's on 53, let's go less.
Perfect.
50 grams, wonderful. Now that's, I think, a wee bit of moss gone in there. I'm sure that would add some property, but we'll take it out for now. Okay, and then let's do the salts. Do you know what, I'm not going to fiddle about, let's just go straight in and get it up to 100. I'll move this out the road so you can see. There we go. Oh, alfresco bath salt making, let's go for it. 100 and, oh, 99, it's not making up its mind very well, is it? That's alright. Now just be mindful that if I had a finer grade of salt here and it was mixed in, it might be more difficult to take out more than you've done, so
but it is important to get the ratio as well.
You could prepare all this beforehand, but we've just sort of gone up, you know, in the spirit of spring and of being out in the outdoors, we're just sort of diving straight in, so that's all good. I mean, it doesn't have to be, I'm going to leave that 102 actually, because I really like the pink salts, but you're aiming for a 50-50 mix, or you could even just do one full Epsom salts. Oh my goodness, the dog's getting involved again. Right, mister, come on, off you go. Okay, so that's me, I've got my salts ready, and I can just give that a nice mix. So it's coming together quite well. Okay, so that's our salts part ready. Let me just close these lids. Knowing myself, I can be a bit clumsy before I spill things. Next, we're thinking about our 4 tablespoons of each herb. So let's start, that should be easy enough. Surely I won't spill it this time. So teaspoon that is, rather. And I'm not worried now about the scales, the weight. We've got the 100 grams. So that's just like a, you know, a bit about that.
Just a little lower.
Yeah. Oop.
That's good.
So that's 1 teaspoon of lavender. We'll go 2. We'll go 3 and 4 to finish that part. Pop the lid on, and next let's chop up the. I'm going to chop up the needle leaves. I guess they are leaves, aren't they, from the tree? So you can take them off the stalks and either twist it, but I might just chop them. Now it does say in the recipe around 4 teaspoons, but you know, I'm just going to do by eye a good few bunches. So I'm going to just cut a few bunches into the pot like that. Okay. And some of these are really fruity as well, these lovely needles. Oop.
It's cold, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite brisk today. Okay, and so again, what you could do is chop this and into a little, like a little container, and then scoop out 4 teaspoons to be more accurate. But again, this is a day of somewhat freestyling it, and you can't really go wrong with these things. Now what I should have mentioned as well is that you can use fresh lavender and you can use fresh pine needles, but I like to dry them so that you can store it longer. You can keep it for up to about a year. So let's do a wee bit more of this. Pop those in. And if you're using it fresh, I guess you might want to also crush it slightly with a pestle and mortar, and you'll get those lovely aromatics and the oils coming out. I'll mix that through. So here looks quite good. And so the pine, maybe we should chat a wee bit about the properties of pine. So pine is very cleansing and clearing. That's oftentimes why it's in cleaning products, because the pine really helps cleanse, you know, especially decongest. Actually, it will start to decongest your sinuses, and it sort of opens up the lungs. It's a bit of an expectorant, it's called, so it loosens the mucus in your lungs. So it's a very good clearing and clarifying one as well. So you're relaxing, you're feeling clear and calm. So that's why we've mixed it in with the lavender. And again, forage just outside your door. Scots pine is widely, you know, it's available all year round. That's what's good about this one. Some plants are seasonal, whereas the pine, the evergreen, stays green and is available all year round. Of course it can be tall, but oftentimes the needles will keep very well once they've fallen, and you can use them any time of the year. They keep their properties very well. So hey, less rambling, and let's get potting it up into our little yeah, I guess there's a couple of things we could do here. There's these simple little cotton bags, you know, the drawstrings here, that you could simply just pop it in there, and in that shoe, you know, it's you can either drop it straight in the bath, or what I quite like to do at times is put it over the hot tap. So if you imagine, you can pop it over the tap and tie it on, and then what it will do is the salts will dissolve, and then it keeps the materials from floating around. And sometimes when you drain the bath, you know, that can clog up, but other times you might like to lie in amongst all the herbs. So it's up to yourself. You can either decant it straight into your bath once it's really hot, possibly before you've added the cold water.
You could also perhaps wrap it up in cheesecloth.
Yeah.
Tie it up in like a potpourri when you're cooking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect idea, Graham. There's also I've known folk to use a clean sock.
Oh yeah.
And you just put your sock round with the salts in it. So you might just want to decant that straight into bags, or put it into a jar to keep if it's a lot. You know, you can make this in larger quantities. You could upscale it. So you know, you could do, if you wanted to double it, simply it would be 200 grams of salts and 8 teaspoons of each of the herbs rather than 104.
And if you're adding the oils, when would you add those?
Really good question. We'll do that just before we add it to the bag. There's other types of things that you can use. This little bag is quite nice as well. But I wondered if we should try some hapa zoming. And that is, we'll find a leaf or a flower or a petal, and if we do a wee bit of hapa zoming using this this little mallet that I've made, we can actually create a design on here as well. So maybe we can film that in a wee bit.
Up, down.
So let's finish up. All I'll do is just decant this, I think, into this little bag. Let's go for that. And yeah, just put it in your bath when you've ran the hot water. Either drop it in, tie it around the tap, and let it infuse for a good, you know, 10 minutes, and then that one's not chopped, and then you can enjoy it. Stay in there for at least 20 minutes or so to half an hour, you know, give yourself that space to relax, enjoy, and really take in the scents and the smell. Now I've just realised I haven't mixed in the essential oils yet, so that's completely fine. You can just leave it as it is. It already smells wonderful, but all I would have done, in fact, let's do that now. If I decant it back in there, you want to add 10 drops. That's what I didn't say, 10 drops of essential oils. Now I brought 2 different types of essential oils. Again, I brought cedarwood, and I'm just counting the drops ultimately. So this one's quite thick, so that was 2 that came out. 3, 4, 5, and then let's do 5 of the lavender because it's 10 drops in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. An extra one fell in, that's okay. Now my skin is I'm absolutely fine with essential oils. If you find that they can be, because they are so potent, you know, you might have sensitive skin that might not be, you know, you might not want to put this directly through it, but for me it works really well, and it just helps to the soothing, the calming essence of of the experience. So I quite enjoy using essential oils. It's not for everyone. Again, that's pretty much it. And smells lovely. Do you want a wee smell?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Really good.
Great. And give it a wee wiggle, a wee shake. And so, yeah, that would be it. I would just drawstring. You could print design on there beforehand, create a message for friends and family, or I could make a larger amount and store it in a jar and keep it in a cool, dark place for about a year. If it's dried herbs, if it's the fresh herbs that you use, I would try and use up within about 3 months. But yeah, let's maybe look at the printing, the natural printing, the hapa. We can maybe do that in one of the bags as well, to design it with foraged flowers and herbs so that it looks really nice. It's like a natural printing method that we can look at. So anyway, here we are. This is a nice activity to do in of itself, but it's also a nice one to tie in with the foraging and the bath salts as well. So I'm going to decorate the little decanting bag, and that is also the bag that can be either plonked in the bath with you or tied round the hot tap. So I'm picking, we've foraged rather, some herbs and flowers that are out at the minute. So we're surrounded by flowering gorse. It has this beautiful coconut scent as well, and the bright yellow colour. I'm not sure how well it's going to transfer, but ultimately we're doing some hapa zoming. I don't know if I said that, and that's natural printing. And I've also foraged some ground elder and a few other bits that were available just underfoot. So all you need is a hard board. It could be a chopping board or a flat surface, your decanting bag for the salts and the herbs, and ultimately this is a bit of card. I've torn up a piece of card to sit in there. The only reason I've done that is so that the print's on one side, but I guess you don't have to. You might want it to go through on both sides, but I've just put it on inside so it just transfers on the one side. So this is like your canvas, and all you're doing is, there's a couple of methods. Some people like to put the plants in the inside, but I quite enjoy putting them on the outside, and then you can sort of paint a picture better. So why don't we start with that leaf and see how it goes, and you're simply placing it inside or outside, and then if I face it down rather, it tends to print easier. And just watch fingers, but you're basically tapping, and what happens is obviously the cells burst from the plants and the juices come out, and you often get prints that are really nice. Oop. Let's pull that off. So that's a little print there. And the colour, obviously this would wash out over time, but it's just quite nice, and you can do it again, and then it might reflect the colours of each season if you use the same bag. But let's see, I haven't tried ground elder before. It's also an edible plant, by the way, and usually a gardener's worst enemy, the ground elder. It really takes over, but you can eat it. Let's see, and there are some nice plants like ferns that you can capture that lovely structure as well, and of course brighter flowers like pinks and purples transfer really well. You could also use a stone. You don't have to have carved a mallet from, you could use a stone or a regular hammer in the house. But again, just supervise young ones to do this. Watch out for finger bashing. And make a good racket if you're a bit fed up, or you're feeling a bit frustrated. It might be a fun activity. Right, so let's see if that transferred. Yep. So some structures transfer better than others. Like again, the fern, you really see the essence and the look of it is still retained, but some other plants not so much, but it's likely my technique. But you can't really go wrong. So I'm thinking about, well, where can I add some colour? Let's see if this colour, I've never tried gorse. Let's see if this works. So in fact, why don't I show you the other method rather? Might be a better idea, and so it doesn't blow away. It's also quite nice to try the different methods. So I can actually see where they are. That helps through the bag there. So I've got 3 leaves underneath. This might be easier, but I tend to prefer to see it better. I think that's working quite well. think that's worked really well. So that's a beautiful yellow colour there. So yeah, this is hapa zoming, natural printing. You can get very creative to paint your own picture with natural plants. Just be mindful of you know, the plant that you're handling. Certainly we've passed today foxglove, which is a poisonous one, so you wouldn't want to use, you know, ones like that. Make sure you know what it is that you're using, but certainly a lot of the plants, and you know, experiment with different shapes and textures and colours, and to do your little print designing or your hapa zone for your bath salts. Thank you.